your worst hosting moment?
Because I wasn't sure. And, I wasn't sure. I was going, they're next, right? And she's like, yeah, yun. And then I say it, and then nagkamali. The stage manager comes to me and says, Justin, mali yung group na sinabi mo.
That was my team. I didn't
Oh
compete.
my God!
Until now, if you tell my teammates, all right, they'll know. They'll kind of know what it means. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Quarantuhan Series, Endless Kwentuhan for an endless quarantine. My name is Anton Fausto, and I feel like this pandemic isn't going anywhere. So I hope you guys don't go anywhere as well, because my guest for today is actually one of my idols. He is an events host, a podcaster, vlogger, content creator, former radio DJ, the bank commercial guy, and I would describe him as he fits the stereotype of the guy you would love to introduce to your parents. So welcome to the show, Justin Quirino.
Wow, thank you. Oh, wow. Just that's for you. Thank you, man. I'm so honored to be here, and thank you for the very nice intro. Idol ko dyan.
No, that's true. And we actually got to host together for the TEDxADMU back in 2016. But then before we go and talk about that, I just wanted to share
with Gretchen,
how like this episode happened, how it came to be. Like, of course, I know that you are like you're really good host, you're in the industry. But then syempre nahihiya ako na parang how am I gonna ask him, and like is he actually gonna say yes? Then I remember that you would sometimes like and comment on some of my posts. I remember specifically
always.
When I became a mixed VJ, I remember you congratulated me pa. And I was like, wow, like, wow, Justin remembers me. And two, like, wow, he'd actually comment and congratulate me. So that's when I was like, okay, he knows me naman. And
my opening.
Yeah. And then when I asked you, when I messaged you on Instagram, so I explained like if I could have you on the Quarantuhan, and it's gonna be like this. And then you sent a voice note. Like I don't know if you usually are you a voice note type of guy, or was it
yeah, it's kind of my thing right now. Yeah. I don't know, because I mean, I guess for us, right, we know how to use our voices, and also nakakatamad din mag-type eh. Alam mo yun? And it's like, especially if you're doing something, or like, let's say like, I like to do a lot of replying and stuff like that, like while I'm jogging or, doing whatever. So it's also easier to just send a voice note. Because at least that way I can still keep my motion, right? But if you start texting, na talaga, it's a little different. This quarantine has been my voice notes time to shine. A lot of people have been saying like, oh my gosh, nagsisend siya ng voice notes, ganito ganyan. And yeah, for me, it's number one, it's faster. Next, I just feel I can express myself better with my voice than via text. And next, it conveys a nice personal touch to whoever it is you're talking to. Yeah. So yeah, I replied with a voice note.
Yeah, but then that was at like midnight. So when I saw it, at first I was pretty nervous. So I was like, okay. I was like, wow, okay, it's a voice note. And it's midnight. And then I played it. I remember the first thing you said was like, hey Anton, thanks for the invitation. And then when you said like, I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna say no.
Rejection incoming.
Yeah, because if it's a message, at least I can I can fast forward. Okay, did he say yes or no? But since it was a voice note, although it was like 8 seconds, I had to wait. Like,
my suspense.
And then when you said yeah, I'll just check my schedule. Like, okay, wow, thank God. But I do hope now we can normalize that. I agree nga na voice notes easier to do, and it's a lot more personal.
One of our co-hosts on Call with Justin Jako and Danny is a beatboxer. And so when we started the podcast, we were like, how can we use Danny? Because he's funny, but he's also a beatboxer. So how do we use him, right? So when we were still doing it pre-quarantine and he was here, he would just do the beatboxing live for an intro or whatever it is. And then, but because we're doing it remotely, I just made him do a recorded version, and it sounds like this.
On call with Justin Jako and Danny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's that called
Stuff
again?
like that.
Sorry.
So this is a Rodecaster Pro.
How did this podcast start?
How did it start? Okay, well, it actually started as a different podcast. Jako and I were working on sort of a self-development podcast because we're very much into like motivation, like a lot of people like Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss, things like that. And like and we're both psych majors also. So it was really interesting to us, like, all these success stories of people at the top of their fields, right? So the initial idea was we were going to be interviewing people, at the top of their fields, and just picking their brains and understanding what their habits are, understanding, why it is that they're successful, what's the heart behind that, what's their vision for the future, stuff like that. And so we recorded 2 episodes already, actually. And but the problem was, it was like, you can always have an idea for something, but if the logistics aren't in play, then it's never going to happen, right? And so for us, the ideas were there, the enthusiasm was there, but our main problem, our biggest problem, was the logistics. So we only met twice. We were also thinking like, okay, who's going to edit? Okay, so we finally found an editor. Pero medyo matagal din yung edit or whatever. And we're like, oh, we need to edit other things out, all these things. Until I finally went to the States for the first time in like 20 years or something like that. And then and he was like, yo, buy the Rodecaster Pro when you're in New York. Go to B&H Photo and Video. It's going to be way cheaper there than if we were to buy it here in the Philippines. So let's just split. And when we got back, we realized that it had a Bluetooth feature, and we could literally patch in calls, right? And so when I was here, and like a couple days after I got back from the States, I asked my friend Danny to come over with me and help me set up the board, because he's a beatboxer. He understands microphones and setting up his own microphone and stuff like that. And he was also interested in putting up his own podcast. So he came over to my place. And then we set up the mics, we set up the board, and then we're like, oh, let's test the call feature. So I called up Jako, and then Jako was like, whoa, you guys are like, you're patching me in right now, like this is like this can go, like you can record it and we can post this. And we're like, yeah. And he was like, wow, that's a lot of fun. This is fun.
Was this before the quarantine or during?
This is before quarantine.
Before ba?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was like this was December 2019.
Oh,
And yeah, I know, like everything we were gearing up for, like it was just like perfect timing, actually. So yun, and so he was like, maybe we can make a show out of this na lang. And the concept is, we're just gonna call people, actually kind of like what you're doing, Quarantuhan,
yeah.
like especially during quarantine. Like that's actually the main message, the main question that we ask to our guests. The first question is, how are you doing? Right? It's still a kamustahan, because this is a global pandemic. People are affected economically, psychologically, physically, all these things, spiritually. So you do want to check in, and so I want to applaud you on this concept. I think that's your intention also behind it, no? Just to catch up with friends and
and it's
so
also like an excuse also for me, because like, it would be normal before, like you would let's say there's someone you kind of look up to and you want to learn from them and pick their brain, like you'd ask them, okay, can I have coffee or lunch? But then now during the quarantine also, we know that everybody's pretty much, we're just home, and it's sort of like, because I want to ask questions and I want to learn, but at the same time, like, I know that these stories could also possibly help someone else, like someone could learn from this. Okay, now more on the podcast. It's not just you who came up with the podcast. Like I'm seeing a lot of podcasts like start now.
Yeah,
at
for
first,
sure.
I was kind of nervous. Like, oh my gosh, like people are making, because I've been doing a podcast for a long time. Yeah, but at the same time, like I think it's good, because like the more podcasts there are, then that means like the more people will listen to it, because there's more than one podcast to listen to now. So, in your experience, do you think like at least the Philippine market, or like how the scene in the country, is there gonna be like a podcasting revolution the same way there was a vlogging revolution a few years ago?
I think podcasting is the next vlogging, because I think that it's more accessible. Maybe, I don't know. Still could be hand in hand, no. But like I think that there are people who, their apprehension about vlogging is they're not confident in front of a camera, right? Maybe they have a lot to say, but they're shy in front of a camera. or they're conscious about their background, you know, and things like that, conscious about their camera quality, etc. But I think that right now, because exactly to your point, Anton, you know, now that more people are doing it, it's sort of growing. It's sort of growing the listener base, the listener market. So I come from a radio background, right? Like I was on radio for what, 5 or 6 years. I started on Magic, and then we were on 99.5 Play FM, and radio is just such a constant, at least in Manila. You know what I mean? And what I learned from I think Digicon 2018, I think 2018 was that radio will never go away for nations wherein traffic is a big issue. Because if you're stuck in the car, you're looking for something to do while you're driving or whatever. You know, you want something just in the background, right? And so with that same logic, especially now that it's GCQ and there is traffic again, right? I think that definitely opens up the possibility for people listening to podcasts. Because I mean, like I love the radio, of course. I love music and stuff like that. But sometimes you're looking for to hear something specific. You want to hear, you know, a certain expert's insights on a specific topic, right? And so that's where podcasts come in, at least in my opinion. So I think that now definitely is the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do hope so. I actually had one of my earlier episodes. I got to interview Bianca Gonzalez, and she shared how
Awesome.
she wants to. She has a video series. If you heard of it, paano ba to? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I share the sentiment is that I wanna talk, like I wanna perform, but I don't
Mm-mm.
really wanna be the topic. That's why like I love having conversations,
Mm.
but I don't. It's like I also don't think like I have much to like. I feel like my skill is talking to people and getting a story out. It's not like I don't have much like I didn't have any life changing moment that I can write a book about. But I know there are a lot of stories that I do wanna bring out. So on that
Awesome.
note, for your podcast, like you said that you wanna it's you wanna talk to people, you wanna ask them how they are. Do you have like an underlying goal with that? Like you wanna achieve this, or you have this one message you're trying. Have you guys reached that part yet?
Well, for us, what we think about, so basically on call is like the marriage, it's like the baby of our first podcast, which was the whole self-development thing, and this new concept of calling people, um, because so the three of us were, so it's me, Jacko, Danny. We're all psych majors. We're all like amazed by leadership. We're all entrepreneurs, and we're all creatives. So of course our topics are going to end up going to those areas, right? So self-development, being a creator, how to make a business out of your branding, all these things. So for us, yeah, it's kamustahan, but it's also kamustahan with people we can really learn from, just like what you're talking about, right? And a lot of people can say that podcasting can be a very selfish venture um, because you're getting all this information for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're creating these opportunities to learn this expert insights and expert advice for free,
Which
and
I
it's
love.
great. I love it.
It's like a life hack.
It is. I think so. And I really enjoy it. And I gotta say that I think my biggest model for podcasting in general is Tim Ferriss. Are you familiar with Tim
Not
Ferriss?
yet, not yet. I'll
Okay,
check
so
him out.
Tim Ferriss, he wrote the 4 Hour Work Week, Tribe of Mentors, and also Tools of Titans. In his book, it's this really thick book, right? And in it, basically, he's indexed the golden nuggets of wisdom from all of these people in the top of their fields. So, for example, and he got all of that information from his podcasts with these people. So that's how he did it. He did a podcast with them first, right? And then he gets all this information, like an hour and a half, whatever it is, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And then he'll pick from there, like what is the best line from this podcast, right? What is the best piece of advice that would help a lot of people, right? And then so what he did was he took that and then he indexed it. So for example, and he's done like I think like 1,000 podcasts or something, at this point, and so he has just this whole well of information to dig from, right? This whole all these resources. So Tools of Titans, it has a lot of different topics, right? Weightlifting, finance, I don't know, spiritual development, cooking, and all these things. So you can go over to weightlifting, and then you'll find Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you'll find again
The
things from
nugget.
his podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like talking about time under tension or whatever it is, right? And so the root of all that was the podcast, and the podcast is still ongoing, right? And so I've been listening to Tim Ferriss for a couple of years now, and I've always known that I wanted to do something similar, either to write a book or whatever it is. But I always wanted to I wanted to pick the brains of people I looked up to and admired, and I thought people who I thought a lot of other people can benefit from hearing as well, learning from as well. So for me, that's the entire energy behind On Call. At least it's keeping it fun, keeping it fresh, entertaining, because we're all entertainers also, but we're very much interested in self-development and I wouldn't say economics per se, but just the development of the economy in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like it because it's more, I would say it's value adding. Like there's a clear, like you can always learn something from the different media you consume. But then with podcasts, I think it's pretty clear. Like, okay, you're talking to the professional in this field, so you're gonna learn something about that field. And then so in podcasting, I would say like people have been going podcasting more because they're transitioning, and as hosts, we don't have any more live events. So like obviously
I know.
that like we have more time now with less money. um how are you transitioning, just focusing on your career, because we know that it's a whole nother journey, how you could transition mentally during this pandemic, but then focusing on the career first. As a host, how did you transition during this time?
As a host, it's all online, dude. That's it. And that's why I think that. That's why also I think that a lot of podcasts are popping up, because hosts have to up their game with their with their quality and stuff. So we use StreamYard for our. So okay, On Call has a live show aspect also. We have On Call Live, which we do every Wednesday, and it's a super interactive show. As in, it's crazy how many comments we get. Like our highest episode had 9,000 comments. But we average out at something like 4,000, 5,000 comments.
Yeah.
These aren't likes. These are people saying things and people interacting. There's input. And so as a host, it's so much fun because you have so much to react to, right? And I think that hosts like you and me, like I see you have a mic there. You even have your mic arm and everything, right?
Yeah.
We're all investing in equipment so that we can host better, right? Because there are still online events. There are webinars. There are quite a few webinars out there actually. And you have these online activations and all these things. So hosts are now investing in microphones. So when you have hosts who have microphones and better setups, the next thing you think about is, what else can I do with what I have? Probably a podcast, or maybe make more YouTube videos, or do like a live show. So I think that's it. That's the transition right now. It's that I believe that everyone, if you take hosting seriously, you're gonna invest in some kind of mic, invest in upping your quality somehow. I got these smart bulbs behind me.
You got it for to improve your setup and everything.
I got it for content creation for sure, and also I can change it. So for example, if I'm working for a brand and their color is blue, then I can change it to blue, right? Stuff like that. Yeah.
The game's really changed now, because what I love also, I really love hosting. Like I love performing. And what I love about hosting also is all I need to do is get myself to the venue. Like, of course I'm gonna dress up well, fix up, but then they're gonna provide the microphone. Most of the time they provide the script. Like you just really need to stand there and do your thing. But then now, like we have to all take care of the microphone. Like I had to study different types of mics, how to connect it, the lighting, the angle. Like I'm using a box. Like that's a thing. I don't know how you use. Do you put boxes so that the angle is better?
Yeah, dude. I was using boxes for a while until I finally was like, you know what? And also, but the problem was when you're live streaming, it's also very heavy on your laptop. So it'll make your laptop overheat. So my problem was my laptop would end up overheating, and my screen would flicker up and down. Okay,
Oh, no, I'm
and
not there yet. Oh no, I'm nervous.
yeah, yeah. So actually, like I'm prepared for that. And at first I was like, man, like what is this? Like, I bought a MacBook Pro back in like 2017. I was like, I thought it'd be good for at least 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But why am I getting this stupid flickering thing?
Yeah.
Specifically on Zoom and on StreamYard, right? So I was like, I need to invest in a cooling pad. So I bought a cooling pad that also elevates.
So for everybody who's like trying to know like what they should do to adjust, investing is really one big thing
Oh
that
yeah.
I think I should put more like money in it, because right now my investing is really what free stuff can I find at home and then use that to like elevate the production value and everything.
No,
Yeah.
dude, that is the first step by all means. I mean, and also, especially if you order online, it's going to take a couple days, couple of
Yeah.
weeks for it to get there. And you need to work now, right? So the first step is what can I rummage from around my house to make my background look better, to improve my lighting? The best tip really. Are you in front of a window right now?
Yeah, I am. I
There.
restructured. This is my room.
There you go.
I've reorganized the furniture like 5 times to like try to find the best, and then I put a
Exactly.
table in the room and everything. Like it's a
Yep.
whole, but
Yep.
it's a fun like process, like trying to find because when you change the furniture, I would say like the energy of the room changes also,
I
so that
agree. Yeah.
also affects the way I do my work.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
example. But then now we're talking about this is sort of like the present slash future, how it's gonna go. Let's rewind a
Mm.
bit. I wanna bring up our TEDx experience. So this is again,
Yeah.
it was in March 2016, and I said a while ago that I was nervous for this, but then that's nothing compared to this one. It was a big event. So I hosted with you and Gretchen Ho. So I was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
student host, and so it was one student host, two professional hosts. And do you
Mm.
remember anything? I remember Boy Abunda
Yeah.
the speaker. Do you remember anything about the about that event?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember quite a bit actually. I remember that you were nervous, and I remember
Did I
that
say it?
a little bit, yeah. But I was just like, but I remember telling you like, dude, okay lang yan, trust me, like you'll be fine. And I remember like back then, you were very, you wanted to be funny. I remember, like parang I think there was that desire in you talaga na parang kailangan patok yung mga jokes ko. You were like writing jokes and all these things. And I think you even ran some by me. Like what
I
if I say
did.
this? I'm
Oh,
not sure.
okay.
I'm not sure.
Wow. I
For
totally
some
forgot all
reason,
these stuff there.
for some reason, and I was like, that's great because you know what? I believe that hosting is sort of like being a stand-up comedian also. Because I mean, you think that stand-up comedians just think of all their jokes on the fly? Of course not. Those are written down. Those are rehearsed, practiced, said in front of other people. They're tested, right? And so for me, when I host, I really like, exactly what you were doing. I was writing down, different jokes and things like that, and thinking about it. And so when I saw that, I was like, this kid's got a future, man. This
Oh,
kid's got a
thank
future.
you.
It's good. And later on in the program, there was this one joke that you landed that was really good. I forgot what it was, but it worked, and I was like, "Palakpakan natin si Anton, di ba? It was good job. He made
Wait
it. He
lang,
made
I
it work.
think
It's good."
um
You
there was
remember?
there was one of the, I think it was a performer. I'm not sure if he was a speaker or a performer. It was a spoken word thing. And then like
Mm.
we all the three of us had to answer like what is that
Yeah.
one phrase or word that just I don't know, like brings happiness to you, something like that. I don't
Yeah.
remember what Gretchen said, but I remember that okay, I'm the student host, like sila na bahala sa like the intellectual deep stuff, so I should probably
Oh.
try to make them laugh. And I remember you said something like, you said faith or Jesus, but something in the like a very religious answer, which is very Justin also. And I was like,
Okay.
wow, that's a deep. Like, I did not expect. I thought he would say like family, diba, or love, but then okay,
Uh,
Jesus. Then I remember my answer was free cut, and I think
Free
I'm
cut.
guessing maybe that's the one that worked. But I remember that it was patok naman, thank God. But if you
Mm.
remember, like during the intermission, some of the organizers went to me and then they showed me a tweet of like one person saying, basta medyo gaget siya kasi like I forgot the word kung masyadong mababaw. Basta I think like something to that extent. But then
Oo.
that moment I was like, like it's one person also. And I don't think I like to think what I said wasn't offensive naman or anything.
Yeah. So we can talk about our answers in a bit, but first I want to address that comment no, about hosting a TEDx event and it not being an intellectual whatever. Um, Back then, that's when TED started. That's when TED events only began to sprout in Manila, right? And TED events are like that. They have to be very intellectual, right? It's technology, education, and design, right? And so people are the speakers there are really known to give answers that add value in a limited amount of time, right? Um, but but also given the culture, given our Filipino culture, right? And given, I guess, what we're ready to receive, and knowing also that we're talking to students, right? And students need to be entertained. Students don't have the longest attention span, right? So I would definitely find a marriage of the two. By all means, be intellectual, but you still have to be engaging. You still have to be engaging, entertaining. So I don't blame you at all for giving
Thank you.
a very honest, candid answer like that, because you need it. You need
Yeah.
parang you need like these study breaks also. Like if you want to keep learning, you need to be relaxed, man. You can't be super stiff and all that. Like not everyone is wired that way. I'd like to argue that most people are not wired that way. So that's fine.
Yeah, but I
That's
remember
fine.
in that thank you. I feel vindicated now. But I remember that day, like you and Gretchen were really like serious, like you were taking notes and you were saying, okay, what
Yeah.
should we do? Ganyan, ganyan. That was my first I guess intellectual event. I don't know how you can
Uh,
categorize. Usually I would do
yeah.
debuts or concerts where you don't like you comment, but you don't really need to think too much about like what's going
Mm-mm.
on. So I think those are one of the like I really want to thank you also for that because those are one of like the like if you remember the movie, did you watch the movie Inside Out? You know how
Yes. Yes.
there are like core memories like because of this
Ah,
one
yeah,
Mary
yeah,
that whole land. Like I would say TEDx is one of those that okay like when I host it's not just about like looking guapo on stage and like and
yeah. Uh-oh.
sounding nice, having the nice accent, whatever. Like, you need to think. Like if you want to
Yeah.
set yourself above compared to the others, you really need to think. So that's where you
Mm-mm.
felt it. And I want to ask, like, where did that? Because I only knew you when you were already Justin Quirino, the host. But then, like, where did that start? Like, how did you, fall in love with the hosting? And when did you decide that okay, I'm really gonna pursue this, not just as a hobby?
Okay, so the question is where did it start
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when did I decide to pursue it? Okay, so I never intended to be a host. I never thought I would take this career path actually. When I was a kid, I always wanted just to be a Power Ranger or Batman or something.
A normal
And
dream.
then yeah. And then later on, so I'd like to say that it started. Usually, when I give a hosting workshop or something, I say that it started with my prom because it's the first event. That's the first event that I ever hosted.
Wait, your own
Um,
prom? You
I
hosted your
hosted
own
my
prom?
own prom.
Did
Yeah,
you have a date?
yeah.
Sorry.
I did. I did. So
Did she
so it
host too?
started. No, no, she's just there. Sorry, little prom date. I'm up here on stage. I get to join you every every now and then
Every
lang.
now, yeah.
Yeah. So I usually when I tell the story, I say it starts with Miss Alma. I was called into her office. I went to LaSalle Green Hills. I was called into her office, and usually when you're called into a principal's office or whatever, that means you're getting in trouble, right? So I thought that I was gonna get reprimanded for something, right? I walk into her office and like, hi, Miss Alma. Yes, what do you need? What did I do? And then she's like, Justin, I want you to host your prom. I was like, what?
Oh.
Like, I've never hosted anything in my life. She's like, trust me, one day you're going to come back to me and you're going to thank me that I made you host your prom. Okay? And I was like, okay, fine. So I hosted my prom. And like, while I was up there, having fun and it was cool, just talking to the batch and stuff like that. And then after the prom, a lot of my batchmates came up to me and said, "Hey, thanks so much for that, dude. Like that was fun." You know,
Oh.
and I was talking to batchmates of mine who I'd never even met before because we're like 450 plus in the batch, stuff like that, and yeah, and that was fun. And then after that, I was invited, and this is also back in like the Candy Cutie days and stuff, right? So I was invited to host the ICA Battle of the Bands. So I hosted the ICA Battle of the Bands, and my mom was there. She wanted to watch me host, and she had the worst things to say about my hosting. She was
But
like, and
that's what
I'm up
mothers
there,
do.
yeah, I'm feeling okay about myself. Thinking, oh, that went pretty well or whatever. But my mom's like, nah, like that was bad or something. Like, you should have done this. You could have done that. You should have done this, whatever.
Wait, before you
And
continue, I just want to
oh,
share that my mom, although it kind of toned down, like what would happen is like while I'm hosting,
oh,
I'd feel my phone like vibrate sometimes because there's a
oh
text. Then after
no.
that, and then I check like you should ganyan ganyan like or parang or correcting my
Oh,
grammar for example. But it's
yeah,
okay. Like,
yeah.
she knows naman now na parang, okay, the comments come after and like you say good job muna before you tell me what I did wrong. Okay,
Ay,
sorry, go
nako.
on.
Ay, nako. No, dude. Okay, I come from a performing arts background. Okay, my mom is like a
Tap
former like
dancer.
artista. She's a
My
tap
my
dancer.
parents and I took a class before. She went over, we had like
That's
a
right.
tap dancing class.
Yeah, that's right. So there you go. I mean, like, so she's a teacher, right? She's a dance teacher, like you. But she really chose this as her career path
Yeah,
over
but she really
decades.
taught dance.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so she won't hold back. You know what I mean? She won't like
Yeah.
that's why I never sang in front of my parents. I never sang in front of them, and I would never dance in front of them unless I was on stage. Because I never wanted them to, be like,
Criticize you.
extend more. What
Oh
you're
no.
not pointing your toes well, or whatever. Like, so all these things, right? So
Yeah.
hosting, at least, like, she wasn't there, so I could do it. I could do it everywhere, and yeah. So there, my mom was there. She gave me these comments, and then I was invited to host again for Poveda Varsity Night, the Poveda and Siende,
Oh.
um, and then in college, I went the student council route. So I was always part of my org events and all these things. And so I was always with the people who were planning events. And then Justin, ikaw na lang mag-host. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine." And then I realized that they weren't paying me anything, like not even a T-shirt, not even a baller, and and for so much work, when you're hosting an event for student-led, like a student-led event,
Yeah.
there are going to be problems for sure because they're just learning,
The
right?
students, yeah.
Exactly. We're all just learning. But that means that there's so much more work for the student host because you need to stall. Why?
True.
Because the video is not playing. Why isn't the video playing? Because they're having problems. They'd never
Yeah,
done this
yeah, yeah.
before. You know what I mean? So you're stalling forever. And so I was hosting a lot of events in college, and I realized that, like, I'm really enjoying it, but I'm not getting paid anything for it. So how do I up my market value as a host? Well, radio. So I tried out for radio.
While you were
Went
still a
to
college student.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I was a working student, actually. Um,
Uh-huh.
I helped pay for my tuition, and it
Oh.
yeah, and radio and hosting was a big part of that. So actually, that's probably another reason why I took hosting so seriously, is because it was my cash cow. It was how I could get myself through college.
Wow, that's a more inspiring, man. That's a way more inspiring story. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm not happy with I ended up having because
Thank you.
I hosted in college, but it was to pay for my dates. Like my
Oh
brothers and I
yeah.
were baon boys, so like we
Mm-mm.
had like compared also studying at Ateneo, comparing my allowance to my friends. Obviously, theirs was like times two or more,
Mm.
and I don't know. It was like an unspoken rule that if it's a date, we're not like the parents. We're not gonna give you anything. Like you find a way to pay for your
That's
date.
good.
So that's
That's
kind of
good.
how I that's kind of how I did it. But then you were mentioning like you weren't paid at all as a student. Now this is a very touchy topic. Like there's a lot of
Mm.
creatives that there's like a movement now that we deserve to be paid for our like exposure is not It's not a currency. But then, like you were saying, when you're high school, when you're a student, you're still learning. So I think we need our fair share of free gigs and free hosting experiences. But then where do you find the balance in I'm doing this to learn and get exposure, and I have to be paid for my work because I have to value my own time and stuff. Where do you find the balance there?
It's really up to you. It's up to your own priorities, right? So I was also taking minimum load back then, right? Maybe like 20,000 pesos per term, something like that. And so I was like, okay, so not bad. I just need to make 20,000 pesos in the next 3 months. That's not bad. That's doable. So I used to go all the way up to SM South Mall. Like every weekend, I would host like something of theirs, whether like a Halloween costume pageant, or the coming of this international artist who's just international, but she's not known really.
Yeah, I get that.
Her claim to fame is she's international. All these random events. And I would drive all the way up there. And coming from Mandaluyong, right? San Juan, Mandaluyong area. I drive all the way up there for like a 4,500 peso gig. And of course I had to pay for gas and toll or whatever. But I was like, that's fine. Because if I do that every week, then that's still 12K a month. And I only need to find, an extra 8K, at least for tuition, right? And and then radio also. So it's not like hosting is going to take up all of your time, right? But again, this is talking like pre-quarantine, right? Things are different now, but at least back then, that's what it was like. So the balance is really, what do you have time for? What's your priority? Is your priority to make money and then just so you can continue to study and get that diploma? Or what if, like, let's say for me, because I was in school for so long, and also like I don't like to cheat in tests, so that's why I failed a lot of classes, because I decided like I'm just not gonna cheat and I'm gonna fail, so I would have to repeat, and so I was actually really close. I was very close to my limit of failed units, and so
Wait, sorry,
so
where did
it
you
would
study
come.
college?
I went to DLSU.
Okay.
And I was there for almost 8 years. Can you imagine? Because I took 2 courses, and which actually helped because it gives you more units, more units to fail.
More
bigger
chances to
allowance.
fail.
Yeah.
It's like having more lives in the video game.
It definitely, it gives you at least maybe like 24 extra units to fail, something like that. With regard to the balance, it's that day. It's okay. Let's say I can't pay for my tuition this week, but I'm about to get kicked out of school. Then malamang, you don't take the hosting gig and you just study for your test, right? It's really about what's your priority. What is my most immediate need? And you think about it, like what are my immediate needs and what would be my future needs? And then you just think about how best to invest your time, right?
Okay.
So the balance is just there. It's in your priorities. What are your priorities?
Anyway, I saw this article online also, and it was about different. I think it described you guys as hunks. So like how you guys like whenever you get mga medyo bastos comments online, and then the quote is like your answer was, I don't think you should just go on and say everything that's on your mind in social media. I think you really have to be more purposeful with your words online. Is it part of my brand? Will it help my brand to reply? Would it help my character? And as hosts, kasi we say what's on our mind. I would say it's kind of the same as how comedians are. They're just honest and they give you the truth. And like we really value authenticity. But then how do you, again, on the topic of balance, how do you find the balance between being authentic, saying really what's on your mind, and like when do you hold your words back?
To be honest, bro, it's really prayer. Like I'm really gonna say, Lord, should I respond? Should I not? Like, or I'll be like, Lord, what should I post? How should I write my caption? Because like for me, you really have to be led, I think. And I think that like if you're only led by your own personality and let's say selfish motives or whatever, let's say, well, I just need more likes. I just need to post so that brands will come. If you're only led by that, then I think that's a very dangerous path. That's a path that will lead you to to just comment first so that there's a comment that people can react to and it'll make you more viral, right? That's if that's your heart behind it. But if your heart is, I actually want to think about this and contribute and not stir the pot in a way that it's just, a hassle for everyone, then I'm going to chill out first, pray about it, think about it.
You kind of your compass or your conscience, like you pray to God and like kind of ask for his advice. And that's something I wish,
Yeah.
like, how do you know like what God's saying? Like, example,
That's a great question.
am I gonna say this comment? Like, for you, just for you, like, of course we can only talk about our personal experiences. How do
Sure.
you know, like, compare it, and we can just focus on social media and hosting. Like, how do you know that this is where God is leading you?
I think the blanket statement is that God has already said a lot, has already expressed his opinion on a lot of different issues, and they're all in the Bible. If I think to myself, you know what, wala pa akong pambayad ng tuition ko. Should I steal? Lord, should I steal? Malamang.
Yeah.
Malamang,
Yeah.
he already said, I shall not steal. You know what I mean? God already gave you his word. He already told you what he feels about things. Now the question is, do you obey or not?
But what's very interesting with what you said though was that, like, the one that really stuck to me is that God already like said, like he said a lot now, because
Yeah.
like I don't know, I've never thought of it that way, but then until up to this point I always think, like, whenever people say God, told me I should do this, like, how do you know what
Yeah.
God's saying? Like, wait, is he on call, diba? Wala. But then like the words are there, the messages are there, and I guess it's our job to look for those messages. It's like kind of like clue hunting or Easter egg hunting. But then related to that topic in faith, how do you keep your faith strong? Because this pandemic is really, I can say that everybody living, this is probably the worst thing that's happened to all of us. And we always say, like, there's a reason behind this, there's a bigger plan. But now that we're in it, like, it's so hard to see. It's not just a pandemic we're facing. Like, there are more problems that our country's facing. How do you keep that faith strong? Kasi God's in command, God's in control, but there's just there's so much suffering that I just end up laughing at it na lang, kasi that's how bad the situation is right now.
First of all, that's a great question, Anton, and I think that people should be asking those questions. And I think that the main answer to that is it's a relationship. With your relationship with God or with your faith, whether you decide, you're a Catholic, Christian, whatever it is, it's, you have to ask God, okay, you said this, what do you mean by this? And how does this apply to my life? And I think without that questioning, then you already lose. Because if you just read it and you're just like, oh, okay, whatever, then it's like, ano yan, diba? But God calls us to have a relationship with him kasi. It is my firm belief that God is literally guiding you throughout each step, saying, hey, I'm here. Look, I made the universe. I can literally provide a house for you. I can literally, provide you with the connections you need for your career. Are you asking me and are you seeking me? That's all. That's how I see life. Throughout every stage in your life, it's going to be that. It's God saying, hey, Anton, do you want the promotion? Because I got it for you. The question is, are you ready? There are a lot of questions that you need to ask about faith. How do you keep the faith? Well, for me, a big part of it is I'm part of a small group. Like, I'm part of a Victory group. I go to Victory Church. We go through this thing called the Purple Book. It's basically a book about all the major questions in life, right? Like suffering, generosity, whatever it is. And then with specific Bible verses, right? That answer those questions. Again, to refer back to what God has to say about a specific topic. And then we talk about it amongst ourselves and we pray together. So that has been a huge help for me in keeping the faith. And also just, it always says, don't test God or whatever. But there's only one principle, there's only one instance in the Bible where it says, test me on this. And that is with regard to finance. That's with regard to trusting God with your finances. A big part of my faith is saying, Lord, like, nawala na yung mga hosting gigs ko. There are no more weddings, there are no more debuts for me to host, right? Mass gatherings. That's my specialty.
That's my job.
That's my
Out
job.
my office. Yeah.
Paano na? What do I do, Lord? But you know what I said? I said, of course, it took some time for me to get to this point, right? But I was like, you know what, Lord? I don't want this to be a transactional thing. I want this to be a relationship, and I want to experience your glory. Show me your glory, and let it be for your honor. Let it be for my joy and my good, and let it be for your honor. And then after that, I got the biggest gig ever this quarantine. I had a shoot for like 2 weeks, and fine, compared to like pre-quarantine rates wise, it wouldn't have been as much, but still, like, it's a huge help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They say that the most selfish prayer you can ask for is, okay, Lord, I need 100,000 to live this month. Please just give me 100,000. It's been said that would be the most selfish prayer, to only ask for what you need. You should be asking for more than what you need, so that you have enough to be generous to other people as well. And I think that's really the heart behind it. But the principle behind it is that you'll be blessed so that you can bless others, so that it'll bring thanksgiving to God. So the end goal is still thanksgiving to God. We're never just gonna be blessed because we're great, because we're awesome or whatever. We're gonna be blessed because, number one, God loves us and He wants us to survive. And next, He wants to get the glory from it. He wants people to say, thank God, thank you, Lord, I love you, Lord. Because, man, like, one way for you to, a way to anyone's heart is their wallet also, right?
That's new. I never heard of that version.
Yeah?
It's usually quickest way to someone's heart is through the stomach, diba?
Sure.
Through food,
Yeah.
or by making them laugh. It became a norm that people would sort of vilify money, that like the more money you have, the more evil you are. But I guess, like, with that perspective that you gave, that the more you have, the more you can give, and that's something that's something I try to live by. So also, so that I don't feel guilty if I wanna become rich, because I'm also like, I would wanna have the right way, like, if you have money,
Yeah.
because you want to give, but I also want money because I want to have
Yeah.
money. Like, again, I always ask a lot of questions about balance, and I want to know, like, how do you find the balance between leaving it up to God and getting things done by yourself? When we look at things in our life, if something good happens, we say thank you, Lord. But if something bad happens, oh, it's my like, we can't. I tried out for this. I auditioned to host this event. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for helping me get it. If I didn't get it, we can't say, ano ba yan, Lord? Parang, why didn't you give it to me? Like, it's gonna be on me. So how do you find the balance in that? Like, Lord, yung bahala to help me get these great blessings, opportunities, or I have to do things on my own also?
Yeah. Okay. So about doing things on your own, I take it to be a rule that if I ever do anything on my own, I will fail. I could get the economic benefit. Don't get me wrong. Okay, there are many rich, ungodly people in the world, right? Or many rich people who don't believe in God, or who don't care about what God has to say about anything or whatever, right? Not to say that they aren't charitable, not to say that they don't help a lot of people. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that with regard to deciding who do I honor with this pursuit, is it myself or God? It's that. No, I'll always respect how other people feel about things, and I'll never force my my belief in other people. But since you asked this and you want to know how I think,
I think it's good
that's me. Can I just add to like the
sure. Please.
Because I feel like a lot of people may be listening to this and be like, and they might be like, parang, yabang naman ito or something, or like, what do you mean? We're in a time of lack. We're in a time of crisis and all this, and we are, okay. We really, really are, but that doesn't change the fact that God has the power to change things, not just for everything, but for you and your situation, and that God is more than willing to bless you, to use you, to be a blessing, to bless others through you. And I believe that the ultimate goal really is, number one, I believe God is still sovereign, God is still God, and that if you would put your faith in Him, He won't let you down, and that it would be for your good. Like kanina, you asked me about going on your own and like failing like at a hosting gig or something like that,
Yeah.
right? And so this one came up. James 1 verses 2 onwards. It's the heading is called "Testing of Your Faith." Right? Count it all joy, count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. The testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Even Jesus himself said that in this world you will face trials, you will face tribulations, and if you're if you're a Christian, and I do consider Catholics to be Christians as well. You believe in Jesus Christ, you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, then you know that throughout this life, there are gonna be some big trials and some big tests coming our way, right? But just know that at least God says that He's there, and He is more than willing to work around us, to work in us, and to work through us. And it's for the benefit, it's for His glory and our good. So if you're having a hard time right now, I empathize with you. I think that now is definitely the time that we have to band together and to help other people who need help. And I think that now is especially the time to use whatever we have. You have a microphone. I have a microphone. I have this. Now is the time to use, these resources that we've been given to make a difference and to help other people out. That's so there.
Yeah.
Just to close that.
Yeah. Oh, that was really good. That could be like if anybody were to learn anything from this episode, I really hope it's that one.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
It's really
Yeah.
tough. I mean, like I try to like, yes, we have microphones, we have our own shows, like we try to bring positivity and stuff, but then it's really hard. So I guess it's a good reminder also, so that you have, because like you need to draw it from somewhere. You can't, like, if you try to entertain people and make other people happy, like you have that happiness has to come from somewhere. So like, yeah, it's good that what you said, you have that compass, you have that um guide, that voice on how to do what you do.
Praise God.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Now, okay, now to end it on a lighter note, and
Go
to
for it,
go
man.
back to the hosting again. Let's imagine we are in a world where mass gatherings and there's no COVID and everything. What
Sweet
is
world.
your favorite type of event to host?
My usual answer to this is any event that James Reid is part of, because it's so easy to make the crowd scream. I'd say, I'm done with James Reid.
Oh yeah,
But my general answer now would be my favorite event to host is an event with thousands of people, a roaring audience, uh, that's just excited. Like that's the best for me.
so
Give
it
me like
doesn't
a
even
MOA
really
arena.
matter like what type of event it is or what brand, or but as long as you have that energy, you have
Oh yeah,
the people. Yeah, I
love it.
miss that
I love it.
feeling.
I
You
love
can,
it.
I mean, I can imagine if I do a live and then like 100 people are watching, or 1,000 people are watching, or 5,000 people are watching. Like there's not much of it. It's just, oh wow, but it's really not anywhere near the feeling of a live audience
Yeah,
reacting to what you're saying,
yeah.
connecting with them.
So lately, that's been for Coke Studio. I've been like the regular host for the Coke Studio concerts and festivals, and it's so much fun. It's just so much fun. Like I get to jump around, I get to run around, and because like you need to live the excite. You're like the bridge of the audience and the stage, right?
Yes,
And the artist or
the
whatever.
performers and everything.
And I feel like the audience really needs what they need is they need to be heard, and they need to be well represented. So if you're hosting a high energy event and you're not high energy, then the audience is not gonna respond to you very well, because you're not accurately mirroring how they're feeling, right? or you're not taking the atmosphere up to a level where it can be. Those events are so much fun because number one, the ones that go there, they love OPM, and it's a great OPM event with originals even, right? I connect to music, and I like to think about the lyrics and how that connects people and the messages of those lyrics and how we can use them, right? With an emotionally charged event like that, it's so much easier because everyone's on the same page, right? Everyone's listening to the same thing. So it's so easy to build up on it compared to, let's say, I don't know, a student talk or conference
Where they're
where
required to be there.
they're required. It's
Yeah.
only for incentives, and once they tick the box, then that's fine. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Different energy, different energy.
Yeah.
But to this day, though, the Pen Shop Fan Con with Sandera Park that was the
Best.
craziest event
Really?
I ever hosted. As in, nakakabingi yung screams nila. And imagine, I was on a swivelly chair in the middle of SM MOA Arena, right?
Did you
I was
feel
on
it
a
vibrate?
Oh yeah, for sure. You feel the stage vibrate, and you feel the vibrations on your face.
Wow,
Okay.
nakaka-amaze.
And I was on a swivelly chair, and so I did like a 360 spin. I was like, I said something like everybody, let's scream for Dara, get on, and then I go around like that, and I was just like, that is the most fun thing ever.
I can imagine.
I love it. I love it
Do you
so
have
much.
any ritual before going on stage? Like, do you do like 10 push-ups or I would imagine you'd say a prayer, but do you have like I need to eat this or I have to do this dance? Like, I don't know. Do you have any ritual before going on stage?
Yes, I have a specific choreo that I
Uh-huh.
follow. No,
Tap dance.
tap dance. I usually, man, I realized that I tap on stage. I don't even, parang
Really?
it's just like a tick. I make sure that, well, as much as possible, I get enough sleep. Next, I need to be there. I really need to be there. I try to be there at least an hour before. Read the script before even getting there. I also have an app on my phone that reads documents to me. So once I get the script, so if I'm driving there, for example, once I get the
Thus,
script,
voice notes.
yeah. That's another thing. Because I'm driving, I'm a driver, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I'm a podcast fan. That's why I'm an audiobooks fan. Because I can't do much while I'm driving, especially if I'm stuck in traffic, right?
Of course.
I also do like a vocal warm up. There are vocal warm ups on Spotify. And then
Oh, okay.
yeah, things like that. I treat hosting like I would an oral exam, like in school.
Yeah.
It's, you read it, you read, memorize as much as you can, try to get to the root of it, and then once you're there, drop script as much as possible, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, the script, I'm a bullet point type of guy. Like, if I have a script mismo, I kind of get lost because I'm thinking, like, am I saying everything I'm supposed to say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, now last question about the hosting. This one I'm pretty curious about. Do you remember what your worst hosting moment was, or like a big mistake, and as in it really stuck to you?
Hosting, like a live event.
Yeah, yeah.
Big mistake.
Or that doesn't happen much. Justin Quirino doesn't make big mistakes.
Oh, okay. I have one. And you know my co-host, but I won't say her name. Okay, so I hosted. So this is
I wanna
back
know
during.
now who the co-host was.
This is back during the Steve Harvey incident. You remember the Steve Harvey incident?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in Miss Universe, right? He said the wrong name, right? I hosted
think I was
I hosted
there.
something.
What was
What?
this? Was this a dance?
The dance competition?
Yeah, wait, go on.
It's easy.
Okay.
So kilala mo yung co-host ko, diba? Anyway, it's fine. I love her, but that was a.
Wait, what
it's
happened
okay.
again? Oh, I
Okay.
I forgot.
So this is my first big ABS-CBN live event, like live audience event, but also televised, right? Live TV. So my co-host and I are, going over script and stuff like that. Like, okay, tapos na sila. Who's next? This person? Okay, this person. And so we were in the front row while there was some some performers up on
It's the
stage.
UAAP street dance competition. I'm pretty
UAAP
sure.
street dance competition. Yeah. It's the UAAP street dance competition. So we're going through our things and all this, and then I asked my co-host. I was like, ito next, diba? Ito next. Yeah, yun. Okay. And then okay, Justin, go. All right, so I get up. All right, guys, palapakan natin blah, blah, blah. Yay, okay. And now, without further ado, let's give it up for Group A. And then they start the music and all this, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then it stops somewhere. The stage manager comes to me and says, Justin, mali yung group na sinabi mo. Ganun. Ito, Group B dapat. I was like, oh, shoot.
And
Okay.
I think that was my team. I didn't
Oh
compete.
my god!
I was I was part of.
Gosh.
I think it was Ateneo Cads.
Oh no! Are you
No,
sure?
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And I remember when I got to the event and I saw you were the host, I was telling my friends, oh, Justin Quirino yung host, magaling yung host.
Oh,
Kasi
shoot.
my friends would always, gagakohin ako. If you're in a dance event, they'd always joke, syempre, oh, Anton, ikaw dapat yung mag-host. Like, they would give me those, they would butter me up. But I was like, oh, si Justin, magaling si Justin Quirino. And then, when that happened, I felt bad also. Because one, like, that's my team also. I was like, ano ba yan? Like,
Oh, no.
say the name right. And also, because, no, Justin!
Oh no!
And then I remember, all right. Like it became until now, if you tell my teammates, all right, they'll know. They'll kind of know what it means.
I said, all right.
It was after, kasi nag-stop, like, so they were dancing for a while, tapos nag-stop yung music. So you guys
Yeah.
go back on stage. Then I remember this you or your co-host went, all right, we're so excited, something like that.
Feeling ko is my co-host. I think that's not like, yeah.
Okay, so what's going in your head? I was so curious.
So,
wow.
Okay. So we were really flustered. I forgot what happened. Something happened. And we were like, okay, who's next? Ganito, ganyan. So you compare notes with your co-host, right? But of course, I mean, it's still your responsibility. Regardless if you have a co-host or not, your preparation going into hosting should always be, I'm going into solo hosting. Like if anything goes wrong, I can carry the show.
You know what's going to happen in the program.
Exactly. So even if you have a co-host, just prepare as if you don't have a co-host, right? But in this specific I was just like, because I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure. I was going back and forth. I don't remember exactly what happened, but something. And so I asked her. I was like, they're next, right? And then no. And she's like, yeah, yun. And then I say it, and then nagkamali. And then I just look at her, and I'm like, and then she's just like, I'm like, no. And then for some reason I thought that we were off air. I don't know why. I thought we were off air. So sabi ko, sorry guys, medyo naka Steve Harvey moment ako. I think you remember me saying that, diba?
Yeah.
And then they were like, dude, this is live. Like this is you said that you had a Steve Harvey moment on national television.
I think it's fine that you said Steve Harvey because I would me personally, I would prefer a person who after he made a mistake calls it out, laughs about it, and then moves on. Because there are people who would act like nothing went wrong, it's all okay. And buti na lang that Steve Harvey was it was a major recent event, so people would be like, okay, fine, Steve Harvey, ganon.
Yeah. And he had excellent leadership in that event. It wasn't even his fault, supposedly.
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
But he took it as his fault anyway. Yeah. And that was like,
but this was your fault. This time it was your fault. Well, your co-host. Yeah. But it's okay.
But it's okay. Yeah. I mean, I take the responsibility. Take the responsibility. Yeah. So that's probably like my biggest, like most embarrassing.
And I totally forgot. I forgot that you were the host there, and I swear I didn't set this up so that you would bring it up.
It's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but then I think that just shows that no matter how many I also remind myself when I became mixed, diba? Like chances are, kasi I was also worried baka lumaki ulo ko, I might think I'm so good na ganon.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are or how much experience you have, you need to always keep the process. Every step you don't go petics for any at all.
Yeah.
For any opportunity. just as a closing, what would be your message to aspiring hosts? I'm also making this because I kind of wish that there would be something like this when I was a student, and I was thinking like, maybe I should go hosting, but I really didn't know of many
Mm.
like hosts
Mm-hmm.
that were like actually making a living. So if you have, what would be your message to aspiring hosts?
Follow in Anton Fausto's footsteps. That's what you should do. First, before I get to that, can I just say that I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
and like, if we're gonna, or do you want to do that after? You want me to give it a muna? How would you like
No,
for us to structure this?
no,
So
any's
yeah, I'm
fine,
here.
any's fine. It's a
I'm
free
here
flowing
already.
conversation. Yeah.
I'm here already. All right. So I was with your brother. I'm not sure which brother at a wedding that I hosted
Probably
in
Martin. He's the eldest brother.
Antonio's. Yeah, maybe Martin. And I was having a conversation with him after the wedding, and because Fausto, sabi ko, I know that name, Fausto. Are you related to, like Anton Fausto, like Doremi Fausto? And he's like, yeah, he's my brother. And I was like, oh, dude, like we hosted together before for Ateneo, the TEDx Ateneo, right? And he's like, yeah, galing nga. He's doing his podcast and all that. And he said that, and I think you were already a mixed VJ at that time. Ah, no, hindi pa. Parang hindi pa. So he was saying that like, you know what? It's so funny because like in our household, we're not hosts or whatever. And for some reason he was just like, I want to be a host. I don't know. I just feel like this is my thing. I need to talk and be a host and everything. And so he just kept at it. And then, he had the podcast and everything. And then sabi ko, and then so I was like, oh, I really appreciate that. Like I love to see the drive in young hosts. I love it. That's how I know you will make a quality host is if you have that drive. Um, and uh, and so that's something that I saw from you in the TEDx event. And then I heard from your brother also about your relentless drive, right? You're a dancer like me. I used to dance back in high school, but
Were
you're
you
still
part of
doing
Air
that.
Force?
I was part of Air Force. Yeah, yeah.
I was part of
Before it
INDAC
was.
in Ateneo High School naman. Wow.
Oh,
Good thing we
okay.
only met through hosting, because if we met through dancing, we probably have a different
Yeah.
relationship. Like
Oh,
I'm
it was
just
different. Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
supposed to hate gasaristas then.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. But yeah, and then so after that, when I saw that you were joining the mix VJ search, no, um, I was really like, go, dude, diba? Like I was very vocal about my support for you.
Yes.
Kasi sabi ko, I think I even tagged Gretch. Sabi ko, tong manok natin, oh. Manok natin
Yeah,
sa
I
VJ
remember
search.
that. I remember that.
Yun. And then you won, bro. Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
And I guess another thing is that it was always my dream to be like a mixed VJ.
Oh,
And so
really?
yeah, dude, MTV VJ back then, and then of course mix became the thing, and so mix. So I was fortunate enough to be able to host some episodes of like radio mix and stuff. But I was like, kasi 25 yung 25 yung cutoff age eh. I was like, I always wanted to be a mixed VJ, but like friggin' like I started pro hosting too late or whatever. And I feel like I'm sort of living vicariously through your
Oh,
being a mixed VJ.
wow.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
so
Thank
happy
you.
for you. I'm happy for us.
Thank you. Yeah. My win is your win. Parang ginawa ka na na eh,
No,
Dad.
it's all yours, bro. It's all yours. It's all
Oh,
yours.
thank you.
Yeah, man. So there. My advice
Message.
for
Yeah.
aspiring hosts. The world is different now, you know. Um, but but what's nice is that we have technology, and the technology is now opening up so many doors that we didn't have before, right? And it's opening up so many portals for learning, and so many things like this. Like with every single podcast, let's say you're an aspiring host, and let's say you want to eventually be paid for hosting, right? Um, Start a podcast or start a YouTube channel, because, or just start making videos in general, and start becoming comfortable with talking, expressing your thoughts, writing down your thoughts, thinking about messages, putting messages together, right? Connecting ideas. Because every single podcast episode that you make, every single, vlog that you put out there, you're going to get better and better and better and better at expressing your ideas and connecting ideas, right? As hosts, your job is not to venerate yourself. Your job is to be relevant, right? Your job is to say something relevant and to connect relevant things. So the more you can train yourself right now to be relevant, to think in a relevant way, just be a critical thinker and have fun with speaking, then you'll probably have a way better chance of being a host. And social media is crazy, man. I just want to put this out there, okay? You guys, you're familiar with Janina Vela, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Janina Vela, she's a famous YouTuber and stuff. She's a musician, all these things. And she's a host now. Like, she hosts like, she hosted like the YouTube Fan Fest and all these things. Before she started out, before YouTube, and she has like hundreds of thousands of subscribers and stuff, right? Like a huge fan base. Before she started YouTube, her dad, who's my pastor, he asked me, hey, my daughter Janina is interested in becoming a host. Do you have any tips for her? And I said, well, I went the radio route. It went pretty well for me. I would highly recommend radio. Till this day, I highly recommend radio because you would get great training, okay? Like, you understand how to move around. Like, hey, there you go. Now I'm going to talk over here, okay? But I shouldn't be talking up here because it's not, it's blocking it out. You can learn a lot of, things like that, right? Learn how to play with elements. But Janina went the YouTube route. She just made YouTube videos for herself, and then she made a name for herself. And then people were like, host my event. So you don't have to go the traditional way anymore.
There's not just one way.
No, definitely not. Especially now that everything is online. You have to invest in online. Whether it's a podcast, a vlog, even a TikTok, there are people who are blowing up on TikTok now, who are blowing up in social media in general just because they focus on making TikTok content. Start now. That's my advice.
Yeah.
Just start now.
And with that, just a follow-up message. So those are for the aspiring hosts. But how about our fellow hosts who are panicking right now because there are no more live events? We're all figuring out how to do this, all these technological whatever stuff. So what would be your message to the hosts that are panicking right now?
To my fellow hosts, I love you. I love you. I love us. I miss us. I miss events. Okay? Trust me, I'm with you on that. I want to get up on stage and I want to scream, and I want to scream with people and be energetic, and I want to have those tender moments also in weddings. I miss it. But it's still there, alive, online, somewhere. So my charge to all of us is to find it, because we know it. We're familiar with it, and it's something that's invaluable to us and invaluable to the guests of the events, whether online or offline, right? So find a way to translate that online. Online, okay? There are a lot of people who are like, nah, I'm just gonna wait it out, and but no, dude, we don't know how long this is gonna last. Start investing in online right now. And I think that, as hosts already, use your experience. You have the experience that gives you an edge over just like the content creators now, who are just figuring out the communication side. You have the communications advantage already. You have the communication skills, right? So now learn how to translate that into video,
the logistics of it.
Yeah, the logistics of it online. But I have faith in you guys. I have faith in us, and I believe that God has good things for us still.
All right. So thank you thank you very much for your time, your wisdom, your advice, and the hope that you brought to the show. Once again, my name is Anton Fausto for another episode of the Quarantuhan Series with my guest, Justin Quirino. Thank you.
Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you.